Can you imagine if Realtor and Homes merge? What do you think of that?
So my point is Realtor.com, if they were so strong financially, they wouldn't have been looking at this potential sale that they were looking at with Homes, right? This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 306 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The battle between the portals is ratcheting up as well, Nicole. We're going to
Ratcheting?
cover it's ratcheting up. It's heating up. So, we're going to cover there's a real estate news piece that covers the fourth quarter
Yep.
according to their research on ComScore,
Yep.
where the four major portals in traffic, where they finished in the fourth quarter, the four major portals being Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, Homes.com. And then I want to cover three different CEOs' commentary on Homes.com and how it relates to that little battle with Realtor.com. So we've got Andy Florence, who was in New York at
Busy
Inman
day.
last week.
It's going to be a busy morning.
We've got Realtor.com, Damian Eales in Inman, his comments, and then Robert Revkin, CEO of Compass, chimed in. So we're going to break it all down, but let's just start with what Real Estate News reported from traffic data from ComScore. Okay, so of course it showed that Zillow retained its lead in the fourth quarter. I don't think anybody questions that. Zillow is the most traffic. You can get anecdotal evidence of that if you just sit in an open house and you ask everybody when they come through the door, well, where'd you find about the open house? It's typically 7 out of 10 will say Zillow, and then 3 out of 10 have some other answer to that question.
Right.
You know what I think, though? I think even because if consumers didn't find it on Zillow, they may not remember, well, where did I find it? Was
And
it
they'll
Google?
just say Zillow.
Just say Zillow, because it's
Yeah.
that brand has been built up to be
Yeah.
synonymous with real estate
Online.
search.
It's like Google. Like Google it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Zillow in the lead at number one. Now, and so Zillow unique visitors, I'll just run through this quickly. Unique visitors, 100 million in October, 97 million in November, 95 million in December. So it shows a slowing down going into the fourth quarter. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
You had seasonality in the fourth quarter, and you also had October, those rates hit 8%. So it's like getting hit in the face with the baseball.
Right.
People back away, and then you get the holidays, November and December. Have you ever been hit in the face with a baseball?
No, luckily I have not.
I have. It kind of, disrupts things for a
Sounds
little
like
bit.
maybe your bell rings a little.
Yeah, I still have a chipped tooth from it, actually.
Oh.
So total visits for Zillow, 405 million in October, 383 million in November, 374 in December. So unique visitors are different than total visits. So ComScore, when they break these numbers down, a total visit might come from paid advertising or things like of that nature. Okay, right. where a unique visit necessarily wouldn't. Quarter four totals 292 million unique visitors and 1.6 billion total visits. Okay, now they've got, listen to this, and we'll put the charts up here for total unique visitors. They've got Realtor.com in second place by quite some margin. Now this is interesting because, and we covered the whole letter after NAR next. You can go back. Actually, Haley, make sure you link that podcast up.
Yeah.
The pod where we covered
Homes.com is linking that up as well.
Yeah, Homes.com. Thank you for pushing that pod for us a little bit. We'll link that up where we just simply covered Andy Florence's letter after NAR next. Now, this was off the heels of a September reporting earnings call from CoStar that said Homes.com had now surpassed Redfin, surpassed Realtor.com, and became the number 2 search portal based on visitors, based on traffic. And that was September. Okay. So
right.
So let's be clear here. Homes.com has said nothing yet about fourth quarter traffic. Homes.com said they passed everybody and were in second place in September. It was the first month that they achieved second place. Real Estate News is saying that Realtor.com holds steady in second place. 50 million uniques in October, 47 million uniques in November, 46 million uniques in December, well off. Zillow's got them doubled up in every month.
Yep.
Total visits 132 million in October. That's compared to 405 million for Zillow. So not even close. Number two for Realtor.com in the battle with Zillow. Okay. Now here's what's interesting though. realestatenews.com is saying that when they pulled ComScore data for September, which is when homes.com says they,
We're second.
were in second, that realtor.com was actually in second according to ComScore, with realtor.com tallying 51 million versus homes.com seeing 47.7 million. So really neck and neck in September.
Pretty close.
Remember now, homes.com says that they had over 100 million. So ComScore and Homes different. We have comments from the stage in New York in an Inman piece that we will read in this podcast when we get to that part. Okay, so there is a response to that Andy Florence has, and so we'll cover that in just a second. I'll just give you the rest of the traffic here. They've got Redfin coming in at third. Battling basically third and fourth with homes.com. Unique visitors for Redfin, according to this ComScore, 35 million in October, 34 million in November, 35 million in December. Total visits, they've got 91 million in October, 81 million in November, 72 million in December. And then homes.com, 31 million for unique in October, 28 million unique in November, 29 million in December. And then total visits, 73 million in October, 49 million in November, 67 million in December. So in the fourth quarter, according to ComScore, whether you look at unique or total visits, nothing in any month goes over 100 million there. And again, Real Estate News pulled this from ComScore. Homes.com president David Millay says repeatedly that CoStar is aiming to be the most visited home search portal and has vowed to dethrone Zillow's dominance. However, he also told Real Estate News in November that when it comes to competitors, they all buy traffic, because that's been the argument against homes. Okay, they're just buying all the traffic.
Right.
Well, how do you think Zillow built their portal?
Right.
They were ranking number one. They did it at a much cheaper time to buy Google ads, but they were ranking number one anytime you search in any community homes for sale. It was Zillow popping up to the top. And then over time, they got that SEO, and they've, organically pulled to the top underneath the ad. So it's like they're number one on each in a lot of instances. He said, ultimately, consumers will determine the value of different search sites. Nicole, before I get into the comments from Andy Florence
Okay.
and David Eels and
Yeah.
Robert Revkin, the three CEOs that commented on this portal battle,
Yeah.
the battles between these four, it's Zillow, it's Realtor, it's Redfin,
Are you
it's Home.
gonna ask me which one I use?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I am curious, maybe, and I'd love for everybody in the
Mhm.
comments. That's a great question. Everybody in the comments, because listen, every agent, you're a liar if you say you don't use one of these portals on a quick lookup on Google. Everybody does it because MLSs are so far behind the times
Well,
mobile ready.
they're just so cumbersome to get into, where if someone wants to see a property, you Google the address and then click the one that comes up first.
Agents looking to stand out from the crowd, Reminder Media is a resource you have to check out. You get your own branded print in digital magazines, email newsletters, and social media content. Reminder Media delivers these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you need to do is focus on your follow-up calls and watch referrals and repeat business come in. I just started using this service and I'm already seeing results from this after only a few weeks. Use the link below to try out Reminder Media.
Nobody uses the MLS mobilely with any type of real consistency, or
It's
it's
interesting
cumbersome.
though, because have you noticed though, since HomeSnap is gone, how many agents have you seen how many agents are really upset that HomeSnap is gone? So
People like they had a mobile
a
capability.
lot of
Yeah.
agents were I'd never used HomeSnap, but I wonder what that did to Homes.com's number 2 once, like, again, HomeSnap, like, maybe they've lost a little bit of the realtor sort of end on
Well, it's
that.
I don't know, because I know that homes.com obviously bought HomeSnap. Here's what I will say about what I would love for homes.com, realtor.com, you have a relationship with realtor.com as an agent with people inside of that. Zillow, you have a relationship. If you're a Zillow partner, if you're a realtor.com partner,
Yep.
you have relationships with people inside. It does seem like as homes.com is building, and they just acquired homes.com in 2021, the home snap acquisition was somewhere in there. It does seem like the personal connection is a little bit distant. It's like, okay, we know it's there, but there could be a deeper connection with the agent
Yeah.
from homes.
For sure, because again, if you're really, because let's think about Facebook, right? Like, if you're sharing your listing, you're gonna wanna share the listing of just listed or, just sold, where it has your name and your photo on it so that people aren't, just
so
clicking the Zillow link and then getting sent to another agent. So
so that would be an argument for homes.com. You're listing your lead, of course.
absolutely,
All right, so
100%. That
back
would
to
be where you'd wanna share it.
the question, and then we'll move into the
Okay.
to the comments here. Your When you Google, do you just pick the first one that comes up, or do you go to Zillow? Do you go
No,
to Homes? You
I
go to
usually I
Realtor?
mean, I don't usually I've never clicked red. I think it depends on what I'm looking for. Is it on the market? Is it off the market? 9 times out of 10, I'm usually clicking Zillow. Like, I'm seeing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're clicking Zillow.
Well, because
Now,
again, I also, like, if it's not on the market, I'm going on a listing presentation, I also wanna know what they're seeing. Like, what's the Zestimate saying that it's worth, so that at least I know maybe kinda
mm,
what their headspace is too. But no,
I
I'm usually looking at Zillow.
if they're typically looking at Zillow, you wanna see what they're seeing.
Oh,
I
for
I got that.
sure. Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
So with 4 I mean, usually Coke, Pepsi, really 2, they buy up all the companies. Those are the 2 in the race for, as it comes to soft
Soda?
drinks.
Yeah.
You know, uh, Nike, Under Armour, you've got some, you know, out there, but I mean, maybe sports would be, that such a big industry. There's room for more than 2, but you almost have 2 and everything. All weekend NFL playoffs, you see State Farm, Progressive. It's like a State Farm commercial, Progressive, and then maybe Pfizer
Well,
slips
it's
one
like
in there.
toothpaste, right? Crest, Colgate.
Right. There's usually 2
Mhm.
big names.
Yeah.
And so there's 4 here in a small industry. Is there room for 4?
Is that a rhetorical? You're
That was a
asking me?
that wasn't is there room for 4? When you start a sentence with is, it's typically a question.
Well, I mean, right now it appears as though there is, right? I guess. I don't know, what are you thinking? Like, maybe
Well,
Redfin,
is there
Realtor, and Home should all merge?
is there
That that would be.
Realtor.com is struggling. Redfin always struggles with in
Well,
terms of
I guess if
making money.
what are you saying is well, yeah, I mean, are we looking strictly at views? Like, yeah, obviously they're struggling on views, but maybe they're hitting their number. Maybe they're
No, no, no.
satisfied with their number.
I'm talking about, I mean, listen, the reason Realtor.com was looking
Even
at
if you merge those bottom 3, you're still not even catching up to Zillow.
no, you would actually.
Mm,
Based on these visits, you would. Yeah, you would. If
I'm looking
you'd
at the
be a
total visits, 400 that month of
oh, okay,
October,
the total, but
130, yeah, that's
yeah, you're right.
220,
If you look at you're right, total visits, they'd still be
290.
behind.
Yeah, you're
According to
almost half.
ComScore, remember, according to ComScore, we're gonna get to Andy Florence's comments on why basically he thinks ComScore is just not the gold standard to look at. But yes, according to this ComScore data, total visits, they still be behind. Unique visits, they'd be above. Unique visits seems to be the
The
caviar
real
of
teller.
visitors.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's like really snobby website. Oh, what's the nowbam.com traffic for unique
Yeah.
visitors? They always want a unique visitor. Shut up. How about what type of people are visiting our site compared to the other ones you potentially would sponsor with? Okay. So I don't believe there's room for 4 here. I think it's going to come down to 2, and that'll remain to be
Can you
seen
imagine
what
if
happens
Realtor
in the
and
future.
Homes merge? What do you think of that?
Well, that's so my point is realtor.com, if they were so strong financially, um, they wouldn't have been looking at this potential sale that they were looking at with homes, right? And then that blew up and didn't happen. And so anyways, all right, let's go to Andy Florence's comments.
Okay.
The Headline in Zillow is a quote from Andy, CEO of CoStar. Blame Ziltorfin.
Mm-hmm.
Ziltorfin, Zillow, Realtor, Redfin.
Yeah.
I find that funny. You know what I find? I always find Andy Florence refreshing because he's everybody says, well, don't talk about your competitors. Don't don't be competitive up there. Just be, just basically go up there and just say words as a CEO. He doesn't do that. He leans into competition. He calls out competitors consistently, does this over and over and over again. I like that. It turns some people off, I guess, but
Well, that's because you're a competitive person and you're calling people out as well.
Since April, we have uploaded new and sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business into the BAMX platform. Not articles behind a paywall that only pontificate to you what you should think and do, but education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX and our private Facebook community. Content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. It's why over 1,500 of you and climbing have joined us in BAMX. It's also why tomorrow's price is guaranteed to be higher than today's. That's called inflation. Do not wait any longer. Use code REALWORD and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code REALWORD for 10% off. See you in BAMX.
yeah, I don't mind it at all. Okay, so so at his latest Inman Connect appearance here, which is he's been there before,
Mm-hmm.
he took aim at Zillow, Realtor, and Redfin. I wasn't there. This is Inman's words in their piece, to be
Mm-hmm.
clear. For a so-called bait and switch business tactics that are being deployed. And he also wanted to address that criticism about Homes.com astronomical website traffic growth, which seems to have in their earnings numbers, and then what Real Estate News is saying, a little bit different. And so Andy says to that, we can't lie. This is a direct quote, Gordon Inman. If I lie about a number in public company reporting, I go to jail 4 times as long as you'd go to jail for shooting someone in the head in the street. Public companies don't make these things up. This is a $35 billion market cap CEO saying on stage something as graphic as if you
Shooting
shoot
someone in the head.
somebody in the head.
Yeah.
I love it. This is amazing stuff. If residential real estate didn't have the pleasure of Andy Florence entering the space, it'd be the most boring industry in the world. Well, I guess NAR can take care of that by tripping over themselves. But in October, CoStar ruffled feathers after announcing Homes.com and upspurred Realtor.com. We covered that here. We covered the letter. As the nation's second biggest residential portal, CoStar Group said Homes.com monthly unique visitors jumped from 46.3 million. So unique visitors is the word here.
Mm-hmm.
Unique visitors jumped from 46.3 million in August to 100 million in September, which would be a 117% change. Remember, ComScore Real Estate News says that number was less than 50 million
Right.
in September. So there's like a 50 million disparity between what he's saying. Now, what is he saying? He's saying they don't use ComScore. We use Google Analytics when they report their earnings call. And it's widely accepted as the gold standard, Florence said. It's how Realtor.com has reported their numbers for the last decade. It's how Zillow reported the numbers for the last decade. And it's how Redfin reports their numbers. Now people are saying to abandon the numbers they've used forever and go on this ComScore thing. He's like, it's a little bit if you won a basketball game 140-75. At the end of the game, they said, let's not look at the number of baskets, but let's look at the number of dribbles. Okay, so now I'd love a response. Zillow, Realtor, Redfin. What do you use in your earnings call? Are you using Google Analytics? Because if you are, then why are we talking ComScore? Right? It's
Right.
like all these paid for agent awards. It's like, okay, well, what are we going off of? Are we
Right.
going off of reality of what's
Are we going
happening in
off
the
of if you
MLS?
paid or
Right. I mean, if Inman gives you an award, did you pay for it or did you earn it? Right? Or did you show up? Not to say anything bad about Inman Awards. I'm sure that they're all sitting on everybody's mantle that collects them. So people are conflating high traffic with positive consumer experience, but they're two separate things. Traffic is traffic. Positive consumer experience is positive consumer experience. So, he's saying, hey, we've just got the best experience in the rest of the world. When an agent has a listing, their name on the listing, their phone number on the listing, their brand is happening. We've covered your listing, your lead a number of times. Okay. This is the first time I've heard Damian Eales respond since really the letter. He was on stage. Damian Eales, of course, is the Realtor.com CEO. He says he loves the heated competition with Homes.com. He's I've heard him speak. He's a pretty, I don't know. He's a different CEO. He's pretty much seems like he's pretty authentic. He'll tell you what he's thinking. Um, and so he says, you ever watch Crocodile Dundee, Nicole?
I mean, you mean like back in like the 80s? Like, wasn't that 80s, late 80s? No. The answer is
No.
no. No.
Yeah, I don't really remember it. I know of it, obviously. But he brought a quote from Crocodile. Is Crocodile Dundee Australian? Because he's Australian.
No, there's definitely somebody with an accent in that movie. The
Are they
main
Australian? Have
guy.
Haley look that up.
She's
Maybe
she's Googling now.
this might be why Damien is referencing Crocodile Dundee. And so he used the quote on stage. When somebody brings a knife to the fight, I say that's not a knife. This is the knife. And so he says, I love it. I wake up excited and our team is energized by competition. I think that's great for everybody in this room. Well, I do have a problem with some of the things at Realtor.com when they say things and then their actions. You can't point to CoStar, who's got a 3.5 time market cap of Zillow. Never mind, if you look at Realtor, what they might be worth, there's numbers out there, they're worth $3 billion. Well, they're worth $35 billion. You can't say they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean, CoStar can bring nukes to this fight. If anybody's bringing a knife, you can't, unless you're the big dog, you can't make that Crocodile Dundee quote.
The main guy is Australian. Yeah, I knew the main guy had an accent.
I nailed that one.
What was the
All
year?
right.
Did it say what the year that was made? 86. I knew it was late 80s.
86. There you go. 80s kids. All right. So whether you're a realtor who wants a better value or better service, you'll get it through great competition. I agree with that, Damien. Competition is good. I don't think there's room for four. I think the competition is going to push somebody out. But this great competition should, create, better opportunities for agents. Although we haven't seen that yet. Zillow's got such a lead that they just raised their prices on referral fees. Typically competition in like technology brings prices down for whoever the customer is. Zillow's customer is, whether everybody wants to say they're there for the consumer, all their customers are the agents technically. He avoided calling Florence dishonest, though. Whoever he said the data from media measurement and analytics company ComScore paints a different picture. So he wants to point towards ComScore. I want to know specifically his reaction to what Florence said. Did you use Google Analytics in your earnings or not? Okay, when you report your numbers. Andy's a terrific competitor, but he's got his work cut out for him. If you're not marking your own homework, then he's fourth at the moment. So he's saying his marks, right, are, he's going by the ComScore, but he had an aspiration to become number one. So do I. So everybody's competing and that type of thing. Realtors have been around. Realtor.com uses this word realtor, and they listen to this comment. I want your reaction, Nicole. I'd love reactions in the comments to this as well. Realtors have been around for more than 100 years. And realtors are synonymous with consumers, not just actually in America, but countries throughout the world with real estate professionals. And he has experience in this, okay? He's worked overseas. He has experience in that. I think that brand means a great deal to us. I think that other companies would say they are real estate, but the real estate professional is real estate. So the word realtor, that brand, is it meaningful to consumers?
Well, I mean, we go over this argument all the time, right? Like I feel like it's interchangeable with real estate agent. People will call you a realtor, not realizing that realtor is what you're paying the association to become. So, I mean, I do think that there's some value to the word realtor. And I think it's just because the public doesn't actually know the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. And to be quite honest, I don't know many agents that do either, like I don't know that anyone necessarily. I actually would be very interested to hear any of our agents answer the question between a real estate agent and a realtor. But I do think that there is some value there with realtor. I think a lot of consumers probably think that the realtors own the site, right? I mean, we did at one time, but I do think that there's some value there with the name for sure.
Compass CEO Revkin, he also chimed in on the Inman stage in a discussion with Brad Inman. Brad said that your listing, your lead. He asked him about your listing, your lead, the strategy there, and he also asked him about Andy Florence. Okay, and so Brad says, "Do you agree with him?" And Revkin said, "Yes, very simple supply." He went on to say that agents are his customers. That's a Bill Ravis line that Robert Revkin has borrowed. Bill Ravis has been saying that for 50 years
Yep.
as William Ravis, a brokerage in the Northeast and Florida and South Carolina. That's always been their slogan there. But then a moment later, he reiterated his support for Florence. "I'm very supportive of Andy and Homes.com. I want to support his success." So doesn't want to step on the toes. Now, this Your Listing, Your Lead, Zillow president Susan Daimler also chimed in on this at Inman on Thursday. And she said her company has a program that effectively does the same thing as Homes.com, Your Listing, Your Lead. And that is the Showing Time Listing Showcase. We're testing this, Nicole. We've got some new development properties on there. The leads are supposed to go directly to the agent that pays for this. This counteracts Flex, which is going to be, it could be anybody's listening that goes to the Zillow Flex, partner. It also, and this is where Zillow has got to make a decision. They're calling this a niche product. It is. It's only available in some markets and only some people have access to that. It's a monthly paid subscription, basically. But Zillow's got to be careful because the same president, Susan, has said that they vehemently oppose dual agency. Well, Your Listing, Your Lead increases the chances of dual agency, does it not?
Right. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
If that buyer buys the property.
For
And
sure.
so I don't understand how Zillow can say they are adamantly against dual agency. They don't believe in it. But then what is that listing agent to do with the direct lead?
Right.
Even if they hand it off to somebody in their brokerage, that's technically dual agency.
It is
in
definitely
most
dual
states.
agency, even in the same brokerage. Yes.
So, all right, that's the update on the portal war, the CEOs. Love to know as an agent, which portal do you use? Which one do you find your consumers using? Let us know down below.
Which one do you use?
Can't say.
What? You can't say.
I use them all, Nicole.
All right.
I use them all. I'm very well rounded. Very well rounded. All right, that's that. We'll see what happens here throughout the week. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content at BAM or an upcoming Real Word. Nicole, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm
See you
flying out
guys.
tonight.
Yep. I love it.